kids I popped out. Yeah, it's actually really normalized. My season's very good. I mean that. I mean, like, I don't think I shouldn't be wearing all these pants. That's what I thought. More than I just live here and stay. That's why I'm going to go test it. We know how that goes with you. What happened?
Too maximum. I didn't. I know.
Pretty bad.
That's right.
A lot of recognition.
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, we pray this day for your ever-enduring guidance. We ask you, clothe us in wisdom and fortitude, that we may disperse our knowledge and facts intelligently among all humanity of whom we serve. Amen. Okay, welcome again.
The board met in closed session and has continued the closed session until the end of the open session on all items.
Thank you. We'll move to item B2, agenda approval, additions or deletions. Is there any public comment on this?
I'd like to ask the join our meeting today in memory of Carl Martz, who passed away unexpectedly last week. He was a former member of this committee back in July of 88 to January of 85.
Thank you. Is that a motion to approve with the addition? Okay, it's been moved. Do you have a second? I'll second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Chair votes aye. Okay, we'll move to B3. This is public comments. If you're here for an item that's agendized, you have an opportunity at that time to make public comment. But if you need to do so at this stage, feel free to do so now. I have one speaker card from Larry Johnson. Thank you.
Got a couple things, but I'd like to start out with, I'd like to buy your e-waste. From what I'm told, it's basically given away and delivered for free, and if you don't want to store it for an auction, well, I'd like to recommend the possibility of a contract deal to where for a fee is picked up at your discretion and on a scheduled basis, which will then bring revenue to you, and it'll keep me busy. So basically, I'll be paying you to keep me out of your hair. That's my first item, but you're going to have to agendize that. Second item is her loan is not worthless, and Amity Field is not the only use. You have 1/3 to 50% of a major solar generating project out there because you have existing high voltage transmission lines and a power substation at both ends of the property that it should be leased, hopefully, to a joint venture between Elmud and Rural Electric. That this would benefit everybody in Lassen County, and then you could split the airport off later and sell it if you've got a mind to. that this is where your jobs are going to come from, your economic development, and energy stability for this area. And if, in doing this, you can get the college out there to get a satellite thing out there too, and they could teach solar electricians with hands-on experience working with LMUD and rural electric. You have an educational opportunity that is hard to pass up, and you will draw students, which will benefit the entire community again. There are many possibilities for her along. Some hairballs I've cocked up to Mr. Egan already. For uses of this ground, rather than just 4,300 acres, here you go, do with it whatever you want. If we lease this ground, we have a guaranteed income that the state can't fool with, the federal government can't fool with, and because in 30 years, all you're going to have to replace is the solar panels, because they're the only thing that will wear out in that time period. We're looking at an income that could go up to 100 years. That this is a benefit to everybody in Lassen County, not just a few, and should be considered by you. And if you don't want to do it, I got my checkbook in my pocket. If you just want to sell it and be gone, I'll do it. And if Elmwood and them aren't chomping at the bits to do it, there's an outside investor who's hung up on his project because he cannot get substations or transmission lines due to environmental problems. And the sage grouse, if we get on it now, will not be a problem, and that's something very easy to rectify any negative environmental impacts. And also, while I'm here, I would like to see you direct staff to contact Habitat for Humanity, a self-help low-income builder, to help stimulate some of the satellite communities. They won't come unless you invite them. And if they came and looked over Lassen County, I think they could help us. Yes. That's all I've got to say today. I coughed up my hairballs. I didn't even complain at you this time, did I? So you've got some food for thought. You guys have a good day.
Ballot points, we'll discuss them a little bit later. Okay, is there anyone else who'd like to talk under public comment?
Alan Schumacher. I want to pick that stab again. Every time I'm in here, whichever one of you make the prayer, inside that says, disperse our knowledge and facts intelligently. And it still wasn't done doing Mr. Burns. None of you were intelligent on that decision. Thanks.
Okay, anyone else? We'll move to our D2 at 10 o'clock time certain.
Most of you know Mr. Gene Herndon, for those of you that don't, he's with our Drug Powers Authority.
Here's the stuff.
The real star of the show, Cheryl.
Good morning. I'm Cheryl Douglas from the Personnel Office. Every year we select an employee because of their outstanding service to our loss prevention program or because they performed an act that needs to be, a safe act that needs to be recognized. And today we have actually two recipients for the first time. We have two recipients, and Gene Herndon from Trindle Insurance Fund is here to present the awards to both recipients. Eric Nielsen from the Community and Social Services is to be recognized today. And Vina Jimenez is also to be recognized for her, and Gina was smelling wine.
You're doing fine. Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. This is the highlight of my year, is going around to each of the member counties and presenting the annual Trinidad Safety Award for outstanding safety achievement and an outstanding performance. And in this case, this is extremely special, this one. This is, in fact, the first time we've had 2 recipients for this award. And so I'd like to, first of all, come on up front so everybody can see you. I know this is hard. I do this all the time. I open the refrigerator, the light goes on, I do 10 minutes. I'm sorry. So it's not often we're able to recognize 2 heroes that we know and that we work with. But this is an opportunity for that to happen to you. And so I'm going to read the certificates for these awards. And that will give you an idea of why you are here and why this recognition is here. So on September 6, 2013, an employee of Lassen County Social Service Department collapsed in the lobby of 720 Richmond Road building. 911 was called, and the Director of Community and Social Services, Eric Nielsen, and Vina, Senior Social Worker Vina Jimenez, determined that the employee was not breathing and had no pulse. They immediately began CPR. Working as a team, Vina and Eric continued CPR until first responders and EMS responders arrived. Their heroic response undoubtedly saved the employee's life, and they are richly deserving of this annual Employee Safety Award. And I really, again, to step up in those occasions is something above and beyond the call of duty, above and beyond. There's something that reaches down inside to just respond and do what needs to be done. And you're very deserving, both of you, of this award. And thank you so much for your service. Can't see me, huh?
No, now you left. I can't get all 3 of you together at one time here.
Here we are.
Perfect. Awesome, thank you.
This is pretty good. We'll sign autographs later. We have classes on camera operation. So, to remind you and others of your service, also, when the weather does in fact turn cold again, we have these really nice jackets for each of you. And on the front is your name and also the year in Trinidad Safety or Trinidad Insurance Fund. So wear these with honor, and when you see them walking down the street, you'll know that these are 2 people who step up when it's time to step up. So thank you again. Board members, thank you for having us here, and thank you for supporting the loss prevention program. In the end, the only way we control the losses in our county is to prevent them from happening in the first place, and your loss prevention program is an example of how that works and how effective it can be. So again, thank you very much. Thank you.
I'd like to say a few words about that. I'm just so proud to be able to know and work with the people who are in my different departments, and this is just an example of the kind of work that they do day after day. And admittedly, this is a little over the top, but I'm just very fortunate to have employees who step up and do this kind of stuff every day, day in, day out. And Eric and Vina, congratulations. There's no one deserves this award more than you do, and thank you very much.
Well, and I want to highlight too, I know Vina and I were right there with Kathy, but it was a team effort on the part of all of my staff to notify and get the emergency responders in to see to
the needs of our clients that were still in the building, to move them away, and make sure that their needs were met, to take care of the emotional needs of Kathy's family and staff. And I just, I am so humbled and deeply grateful to have such a team. And I just want to recognize them and the efforts that they made as well as Vina, and you did awesome.
Thank you. Okay, let's quickly take up our item G of information calendar. Is there any items that the board Is there any items on the consent calendar the public would like to be pulled for further consideration?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's right. Okay, we're gonna move to item D2. I'm sorry, D3. Sorry, 10:10, time served. We have another minute or so. I think until it becomes 10:10, I'll ramble on for a minute, Maria, and would just personally like to express my thanks for getting to know you a little bit, and for all you brought to the county and your personality and that smile, and I'm sure you're going to be missed. So, before we, I guess, officially begin, the board took the trivia.
You know, in my heart. Flowers or chocolate? I'm not used to the spotlight anymore.
So, do we have a proclamation to read?
I wish we did. I don't recall
Yeah.
seeing one being sent through. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that there isn't
Yeah.
one.
It was there. I believe.
Are we looking at my notes?
It's in process, yeah. You'll have to come back.
And
Well, she's not leaving until April 15th, so maybe that's when they were planning it. I don't know.
no, it was put on the agenda last week, and we were going to try to expedite the proclamation, but I guess it'll be coming short.
It'll be next.
Yeah, and we'll make sure to forward it to you, and at least you do have nice flowers to.
I do.
I would like to say, Mr. Chairman, if I could, I've enjoyed, I was on the board when Maria was first hired, and she was a different kind of an applicant for the job. And I just wanted to say thank you for bringing the personality and the spark that you did to the county family. I know you were well liked throughout the county family. And I know you took on some hard tasks, not because you had to, because you wanted to. And I think that is a truly remarkable trait you have. And I appreciate everything you did and tried to do and got accomplished.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm sorry we don't have the award for you.
Quite all right.
Yeah.
We have flowers.
Have flowers.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for the recognition. I guess I'll say a couple of words. Oh, sure, go ahead.
Julie Bustamante, County Clerk Recorder for the record. Maria, I first saw her in one of our training sessions, and she was up engaging with the presenter, and I was like, who is that woman? What is she doing? Doesn't she know we just want to come and get out? But that's Maria. She engages in everything she does and does it well. And we became good friends. We went to the Taste to Be Sip of Wine was our first outing together with my daughter, and she turned out to be a vegetarian.
But you still liked me.
But I still liked her.
Yeah.
But,
Can you start all over again?
I just wanted to say we've become very good friends, and I'm going to miss you. Thank you.
I guess I'm allowed to talk, even though I don't have an official proclamation. I want to thank this Board of Supervisors. It has been quite the journey, Lassen County, for someone from the Bay Area, and that's really where I was born and raised and grown, so coming up and taking a chance in a very rural county. I mean, it was a chance for both of us. You know, the board that hired me to the board that's employing me now. I think we've accomplished some mighty works for the people of this county. The two departments I represent are Child Support Services and Child and Family Services. I wouldn't call them necessarily the glamour departments, if you will. There's a lot of heavy, hardy, difficult things going on in both of those departments. But I'd like to think that what we did together for 4 years, both teams, we brought some light to the subject and really served with our hearts and our minds. You know, I've always believed social services, county government, it should be ran like a business. I'm a businesswoman at my core, but I'm a businesswoman that just loves to lead with her heart. And it has been, I said earlier, I'm a changed woman because of my 4 years here. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I really am. I would not be the woman that I am now without the 4 years I've spent in Lassen County in my professional and personal journey. It has been such an honor to serve my teams, my wonderful teams for 4 years who embraced this, I don't know, shall I say this radical Napa wine woman, if you will, into the fold. After a long tenured director ahead of me at the department, they took me in as is, and dare I say that we learned each other very well and accomplished much together. And Child and Family Services, what a journey, what a rebalancing of a department together, working so hard together. So I'm just honored to be here. I'm honored for the recognition, and I leave Lassen County with a lot of mixed feelings, but knowing that this is, in my personal walk, where I'm supposed to be heading is back down the mountain. So I thank you for your understanding of that and your support of me as one of your leaders.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So that should be a hard act to follow, especially with a morning, services. Morning's not near as exciting.
That's a tough act to follow. How do you like them apples?
Okay, item C1 is our 10-15 public hearing, planning and building services on the grants and loans.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Jenna Aguilera with Planning and Building Services Department and Board of Supervisors. So today, what's being brought is the 2014-2015 State of California Department of Housing and Community Development Block Grant application for an amount up to $2 million. We are requesting that the board conduct a public hearing to solicit comments regarding submittal of a grant application to the HCD CDBG program and to adopt a resolution making an application to the 2014-2015 HCD Community Development Block Grant Program and authorizing the execution of the grant agreement and any amendments thereto. So as you may remember, this is the final public hearing process. Our first public hearing to solicit comments regarding possible grant application items was held on February 11th, 2014. The department presented several items of funding options to the board on March 18th, and then the final options were chosen on March 24th of 2014. And those items that were agreed upon were the public improvement activity for Leavitt Lake CSD in the amount of $900,000. It did increase since the last time. Leavitt Lake CSD was able to identify a couple different extra items that had to do with sewer improvements, so that was increased. And then the housing rehabilitation program for the community of Westwood, and then the business assistance and microenterprise combo program.
any questions of board members?
And I do need to pass out public hearing sign-in sheets, so if that's okay if I can do that at this point. But all present need to sign in and for the public hearing for the grant files.
Put your phone number and social security number.
It will go in a locked confidential cabinet, I promise.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know why I did, but anyway, last time we had the Hurlong area for the housing, rehabilitation, this time we're going to Westwood. How come you can't just do it for the whole county, so if somebody from Vallejo or Good Valley or Standish or Ravendale, I mean, how do we have to have it for each?
Because the county doesn't have the low to moderate income numbers, we actually have a more competitive application with a specific target area. So Westwood, with the low income numbers that we have a more of a competitive application at that point. We can look at doing something like that in the future for Lassen County-wide, but it's not guaranteed of funding. And it's not guaranteed funding now, but it's a little bit more competitive by choosing a target area.
Countywide, the number
Is lower.
is lower. I mean, so you got the individual small communities, and they qualify with the entire county, but not.
Yes, that's correct.
Any questions from the public on the staff presentation? Okay, well, thank you. Okay, so we'll bring it back to the board.
You want to close the public hearing?
Public hearing will be closed at 10:19, and we'll bring it back to the board. Thank you. Motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to take our 5-minute recess scheduled for 10:25. We'll take it at this time. We'll recess for 5 minutes.
Just that you were here.